Hey everyone, and welcome back to another cryptocurrency video. In today's video we will be discussing the price of Bitcoin relatively to its weekly time frame. This will be a weekly updated video where we will look at some key indicators every week, such as the weekly moving averages, such as the RSI and the Bitcoin dominance and its bull market support band and all of that good stuff. We will do this on a weekly basis. The key indicators will help us analyze where the Bitcoin price could be in the short term and in the long term. The reason why I'm looking at the weekly time frame, guys, every week is not only because I'm doing this video every week, but because I like to tune out some of the noise and some of the volatility that we can get on shorter time frame charts, just like the 4 hour, the 6 hour, the 8 hour, even the daily, for example. So I would just like to take a look at the price of Bitcoin on a weekly basis, look at some key indicators, analyze them, and just go from there. If you like this type of content, guys, make sure you hit that like button, make sure you hit that subscribe button, as it means a lot to me and it helps the channel grow. If you are a fan of cryptocurrency, which I assume you are, I have a cryptocurrency shop where you can shop some cryptocurrency products. I'm currently having a 5% sale discount. So be that as it may, let's begin with the video, and let's begin with some moving averages, guys, because I've seen this trending on Twitter lately, and it is the 50-week moving average and the 200-week moving average on the weekly time frame. And you can see right now we're getting some sort of cross between the 50-week and the 200-week, and this is actually known as a golden cross. Now, what is a golden cross? A golden cross is when the 50-week crosses over the 200-week, where the 50-week actually points to the upside. Now, why is that so special, guys? Why is it considered a golden cross? Well, the reason why it's considered a golden cross is because there's been a shift in the trend, there's been a shift in the momentum of the price over the last few weeks. Just like how we had a death cross at the beginning of 2023, there was a shift in price over the last year before that. Now, with moving averages, guys, I've mentioned this before, and moving averages are lagging indicators. So we have the 50-week moving average. What does that mean? It means that for the last 50 weeks, it has taken an average price, and the 50 week is currently sitting at $29,930. So if you have the price of Bitcoin today, right now, which is 45k, this 45k would have replaced the price of Bitcoin where it was at 50 weeks ago. And 50 weeks ago, if we actually go back 50 bars, let me just bring a actual representation. So if we go back 52 bars, that will take us to the 2nd of January 2023. And the price of Bitcoin around the 2nd of Jan, it was around 19 to 20k. So this week 45k would have replaced the 20k that happened back last year. Hence why price has significantly curled up, because the price of Bitcoin throughout 2023 and so far in 2024, price has just gone up. On the other hand, if we take a look at the 200-week moving average, guys, the same rule applies. The price of Bitcoin today replaces the price of Bitcoin that it was 200 weeks ago. And 200 weeks ago, Bitcoin was probably somewhere over in this region right here. So 45k is replacing that price, hence why it is a slower moving average. We actually had a death cross back at the start of 2023. And a lot of investors get bearish at a death cross, and I don't seem to know why, because it's just confirmation of a trend that's happened from the year before. I mean, from the high of November 2021, we literally had a downtrend for a whole year. So investors can, of course, predict, not even predict, they can understand how the 50-week moving average would have crossed the 200-week moving average. But with that being said, in Bitcoin's whole history, on the weekly time frame, this is Bitcoin on the weekly time frame, guys. We're just going to look at Bitcoin on the weekly time frame in this weekly updated video. You can see that there has never been a cross between the 50-week and the 200-week, only up until the death cross that happened at the beginning of 2023. So we've had no crosses up until last year, where we had a death cross, and now we're about to print a golden cross. The golden cross hasn't happened just yet because, as you can see on the screen right here, the 50 week is currently at 29,930, whereas the 200 week is currently sitting at 29,989. So the cross hasn't officially happened yet, even though it's definitely going to happen on next week's close or next week's open. The price of Bitcoin currently today is around 45k. You know, we've had a strong start to 2024 so far, and conveniently, it's quite funny, conveniently 2024 started, so the 1st of January 2024 started on a Monday. Make that as you will, I think that's just a brilliant coincidence. You know, we got a fresh candle on the 1st of January, and so far Bitcoin is actually up 6.75% on the week. So as Bitcoin is currently trading at around that 45k level, you can see that we're somewhat overextended from these moving averages. Moving averages, even though I don't tend to put much weight on them, they can act as support and resistance lines. So for example, if you look at the death cross that happened back at the beginning of 2023, you can see that price actually acted as resistance on the 200 week and the 50 week, which resulted in price crashing back down to 19.5k. Despite what people say with regards to the narratives, because we all know that is when somewhat of a small banking crisis happened back then, but you can see that they do act as resistance lines and they do also act as support lines. If we take a look at where both averages are, they're currently just shy of 30,000. So how far away are we from these moving averages? If we take a comparison or take a look right now, we are currently around 33% away from these averages. So we're quite overextended, guys, and we're going to look at some other indicators that might suggest we are also overextended, such as the RSI. We will go ahead and look at that just now. If I just get rid of these indicators right here and we look at the relative strength index. Again, this RSI is also on the weekly because we are looking at the weekly time frame. If we take a look at the RSI, guys, you can see that we're over this 70 level. Just a brief explanation. If we are above the 70 level, it means we are technically overbought. If we are below the 30 level, that technically means we are oversold. Now the RSI just shows the relative strength. It shows the momentum within the markets. And if we are above 70, that's generally a sign that the market is currently overheating. As you can see throughout the history of Bitcoin, you know, in the last bull cycle was over 70. We actually made it to 90. In 2019, when we had that crazy run in 6 months, we again went over 70. In the previous bull market, you can see we was over 70 and so on and so forth. But the RSI is quite good. And the reason why it's quite good is because you can use them to analyze divergences. Yeah. So a divergence occurs where, let's say, Bitcoin put in a top in April of 2021. Yeah. But then it made a higher high in December of 2021, whereas the RSI topped at around 90 in Jan of 2021, yet the RSI put in a lower high in November of 2021. So you can clearly see there is some sort of bearish divergence. Yeah, bearish divergence just means that price puts in a higher high, but the RSI puts in a lower high. The same thing over here, guys, when we take a look at the bottom of the bear market. If we take a trend line here, where price was in June of 2022, we put in a low, just like the RSI down here. The RSI put in a low, but the actual low of the bear market came in November of 2022, yet the RSI put in a higher high in comparison to that. So that is known as a bullish divergence. And this is why I like to look at the charts on a weekly basis, because you can see these divergences very clear, and then you can use these divergences to see where the market can go next. You know what I mean? So that's the RSI right there. If we now take a look at the Bitcoin dominance, if I just overlay the Bitcoin dominance, get rid of the RSI, you can see that the Bitcoin price overlaid with the dominance is currently at 52.53%. I actually made a tweet yesterday. If you don't follow me on Twitter, make sure you go follow me on Twitter, because I post quite a bit on there. I'm always up to date on Twitter if I don't make a video, for example. I actually tweeted last night that the Bitcoin dominance will rise in the short term, which you can see right now, where I said that the capital rotations will flow from altcoins into Bitcoin. Now, why do I say that? I say that because of the two narratives that are currently occurring for Bitcoin. One, we have the Bitcoin spot ETF, and two, we have the Bitcoin halving that will come at the end of March, start of April. It's Bitcoin season, you know, and when it's Bitcoin season, that's when the flow of money from altcoins transfers into Bitcoin. But the reason why I wanted to look at the Bitcoin dominance, guys, is because of the behavior that happened in 2019, where we rallied in the pre-halving year, just like we done so in 2023. If we take a look at the Bitcoin dominance in relative to price, the price actually topped out right here, yet the Bitcoin dominance didn't top until a few weeks later. So Bitcoin price, it topped out in June of 2019, but the Bitcoin dominance didn't price in or didn't top out until August of that year, so a few months later. Now you might think, well, why is that relevant? Why is that the case today? If we actually look today, the same thing could be happening, where price goes up, price tops out, Bitcoin dips a bit, but the dominance continues to rally. So we've had a strong uptrend. Strong uptrend. I think the price will look to stall in the near future, guys. I think Bitcoin will top out soon, depending on if it reaches that elusive 48 to 50k level. I think the price will surge up, and then the Bitcoin dominance will not top out. Bitcoin price will take a slight dip, yet the Bitcoin dominance will rise further, and I believe the Bitcoin dominance will rise further towards that 60%. And the reason why I think it will rise towards that 60%, because if we actually take a look at the Bitcoin dominance, guys, which was probably the strongest indicator throughout 2023, because essentially, just like Bitcoin, all it did was go up for the whole year. You can see that recently, though, that the Bitcoin dominance has actually taken a small dip over the last few weeks or so, and that is because altcoins have actually been outperforming. You know, you're hearing altcoins doing 10x, 100x over the last few weeks with meme coins, etc. But that's normal. That's normal because in a bull market, guys, and I wouldn't class this as a full-blown bull market, but when price does tend to go up for generally a year, you could call that like a mini bull market. In some sort of area where there is a bull market, Bitcoin always tends to lead first. Bitcoin has to go up first before altcoins can make the move. Hence why the Bitcoin dominance rose, because Bitcoin rose throughout the whole year. Oh, what's happened to my computer? There we go. So only once Bitcoin topped out and then stalled for a few weeks, that is when altcoins tended to perform. But as you can see, the dominance has now started to rebound back up. Now the reason why I believe we could go to that 60% level, which could essentially help Bitcoin top out in the near short term, is because of these key Fibonacci lines. You know, we discussed the Fibonacci lines with regards to the Bitcoin price and how this tool can help us see where Bitcoin could go with regards to the 48k to 50k mark, as that is the 618 golden fib ratio. If we take a look at the last cycle in regards to Bitcoin dominance, you can see that from the top to the bottom, the 618 golden ratio was at 73%. And what do you know? Bitcoin went up to that 618 and got rejected, just like Bitcoin did in 2019. If we do the same again from the top of the last bull market and we go to the bottom, you can see that the 618 is currently at 60.39%. Bitcoin is currently stalling at the 0382. But I believe with these two narratives coming forward now, you know, the Bitcoin spot ETF and the Bitcoin halving around the corner in a couple of months, the narratives are just eating up Bitcoin. It's all about Bitcoin. It's not about altcoins. It's all about Bitcoin. And I'm not a Bitcoin maxi because I have a few favorite altcoins which I'm not going to mention. But with regards to the cryptocurrency asset class, it's all down to Bitcoin. Yeah, Bitcoin has to move first before altcoins move, and if Bitcoin nukes, altcoins just get wrecked. That's just the way it is. That's just what I've learned from being within the cryptocurrency asset class since the back end of 2020. Knowing about the Bitcoin dominance is a key tool to help you navigate the cryptocurrency asset class. If you know about the Bitcoin dominance and you can use it to your advantage, you will be very successful in cryptocurrency. But that is just what I wanted to discuss in today's weekly update. I will be back next week with another update with maybe a few different indicators to see how we can analyze those too. But yeah, that's it from me today, guys. I hope you all enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure you hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and as always, it's been your boy J1 General. Thank you. Bye.